Hi, I'm Kathy Ornish, and I'd like to share with you my 5 favorite tools for anxiety. You can work with anxiety a lot of different ways. You can have practices that calm you in the moment, but ideally we're working toward a deeper sense of self-transformation and to affect the causes of our suffering. So the first tool that I'd like to share with you is the use of asymmetric asana. So we're working by moving different parts of the body at different times. And when we do asana in a more asymmetric way, we keep a busy mind really focused. And it really helps to build concentration. It helps to, when we're linking movement with breath, it helps to relax the body and equilibrate the physiology. Pranayama is also another really important tool that I would like to share with you. It's especially helpful in shifting our physiology. So heart rate and other aspects of physiology, our breath, those things are affected very profoundly by doing this. It also really develops a strong aspect of attention. And because I mentioned that, really having a more collected mind and focused mind is a big part of working with anxiety, because we really want to be able to control where our thoughts and attentions go. So one of the things that I'm going to share with you is using like a Ujjayi breath. We would work with the 4 parts of the breath: inhale, retention, which is hold after inhale, exhale, and suspension. So we're working towards a ratio that's like 2, retention, which would be 1, exhale, which would be 3, and suspension, in this case, we're not going to be using it with working with anxiety. So that might mean for you, inhale 6, hold or retain for 3, exhale 9, no suspension. So that's a really great tool to use. Another tool that I'd like to share with you is the use of sankalpa. And there are 2 different ways of using sankalpa. One is as an affirmation. As an affirmation, this is a heartfelt desire that reflects your true nature. So a couple of examples of that are, I am worthy, I have everything I need, I have a clear, calm mind. So those are some nice, some examples of things that people have used in the past. Another example is a resolution. And a resolution is something that, an intention, something that you want to achieve. Like, for instance, when I notice that anxiety is arising, I will take some deep breaths in and feel calm. So both of these you can use anytime that you want, but sometimes it's easier to use them to help develop a relationship with them by saying them before you do Shavasana, for instance, and after Shavasana, so that it brings it a little bit deeper into the system. Another technique that I like to use, and this is a combination, it's really 2, but it's really a combination of ideas. And this is a more philosophical idea and something more that you would do with your mind. It's the use of V-yoga and Samyoga. So V-yoga is really to separate from what doesn't serve you. So, and that can be your emotions that don't serve you. So this is like mood. It might be a story or false ideas about yourself or about what's happening. And so this is more at the level of cognition or the level of your mind. And then the other is dysfunctional behaviors. So we really want to move from things that don't serve us. And again, this would be mood, this would be behavior, and this would be cognition or thoughts, your story. So that's V-yoga, separating. You can think about it as generally as separating. The other tool is Samyoga. And Samyoga, it's really important that we have both of these, because we don't want to just always have this kind of renunciation or separation. We also want to be able to link with something. So Samyoga is this idea of connecting to what's positive and bringing what's positive and desirable into our system. So we want to think about cultivating joy. We want to think about linking to something that's larger than ourselves. And that might be light, it might be God, it might be nature. And the third thing is to think about linking to a mantra or using a mantra to link to something that's more positive. And so that could be a guru mantra, or it can be any kind of mantra. The other thing that we can use is sound. So there are many different kinds of use of sound. Mantra is actually one of them. We can use prayers that we know, we can use things from text, we can use humming, so any kind of sound. We can use vowels. So whatever really appeals to you. I typically tend to use mantra, but I do some workshops sometimes where I'll use words like contentment or joy, and we chant those externally. You can use chanting while you're in asana, so that's a really powerful practice, is to actually chant as you move. And you can use that both internally and externally. You can also do chanting with pranayama, and that's all done internally. And it's again a way of connecting with something, but it also can be a way of metering the breath. The other use of sound would be meditation, and typically that would be a mantra. And that mantra is more of a samyoga experience, which I mentioned previously, and that helps you link to something that's positive. So addressing anxiety at the level of the body, some of the tools that are the most useful are asana and exercise and relaxation practices. Working with the breath, just plain old deep breathing is great. You can do more pranayama practices that are more specific and really controlling of the breath. You can use relaxation practices and chanting. So when you chant externally, especially, you're actually lengthening the breath as well as making a connection to something deeper. When we're working with the mind, practices that are helpful here are pranayama, meditation, self-reflection, prayer, and as I mentioned earlier in the talk, viyoga and samyoga techniques. So understanding what arises in our mind, realizing that we don't necessarily have to identify with those thoughts, and then realizing that we can actually connect with something that is serving us better, which is the samyoga practice. And all of these are really svadhyaya practices where we begin to be more self-aware and begin to have more control over the mind, and we begin to affect the physiology. And all these tools are useful and helpful in that direction.